Have you ever felt trapped inside your own head, waking up with weight you can't explain? No loud pain, no reason, just heaviness. Everything's the same, but nothing feels right. You open your eyes, but the world feels far, muted, gray. You smile because you're supposed to. You show up because they expect it. But inside, you're drowning, without water, without movement, without sound. You keep waiting for it to lift, for it to pass, for something to save you, but it doesn't. Because no one's coming, that's when it hits. If you want to survive this, you'll have to move, not fast, not loud, but steady. One thought, one breath, one decision at a time. What if sadness isn't a wall, but a weight? What if this isn't the end? What if the heaviness you feel is not here to crush you, but to teach you how to carry? What if the darkness wasn't your enemy, but your beginning? These aren't quotes. These aren't hacks. They're lessons. Stoic ones tested in silence, carved into cold mornings. And if you sit with them, really sit with them, you'll feel something shift. Not all at once, not overnight, but enough to breathe again, enough to keep going. Let's begin. Accept what hurts. Don't run. Pain arrives, and most people run. They drown it in noise, in distractions, in fake smiles, and I'm fine. But pain doesn't leave just because you ignore it. It waits, quiet, patient. And when you're alone again, it returns, stronger, sharper, unanswered. The Stoic doesn't chase comfort. He sits with the sting. He looks pain in the face and says, I see you, not to suffer, but to know it, to understand it, to strip away its power. Because what you name, you shrink, and what you face, you own. Avoidance builds prisons. Acceptance builds peace. So stop running. Let the ache sit beside you. Let it speak. Let it pass. Not because it's easy, but because it's the only way through. And when it fades, not if, but when, you'll still be here. Standing, clear, unbroken. You are not your feelings. Sadness visits, but it doesn't own you. Fear rises, but it doesn't define you. You feel heavy, tired, hollow, but that isn't who you are. It's just what's passing through. The Stoic doesn't deny emotion. He doesn't numb it. He observes it, as if watching a storm from behind thick glass. He lets it come, lets it swirl, and waits. Because he knows no storm lasts forever. Most people drown not because the wave is too big, but because they think they are the wave. You are the shore, the mountain, the one still standing after it all passes. So when the sadness hits, don't name yourself after it. You're not broken, you're not lost. You're just feeling, and feelings are weather. Let them move. Let them go. Because who you are is deeper than anything passing through. Control starts with small actions. When you're low, it's innate, everything feels out of reach. Big goals feel fake. Plans feel far. Even getting up feels like climbing a mountain. So don't aim for mountains. Start smaller. Drink water. Breathe deep. Make your bed. Open the window. Write one sentence. That's control. That's you. Picking up the pieces. Slow, deliberate, real. The Stoic doesn't try to win the day. He wins the next moment. Not by force, but by rhythm. Because momentum isn't built in leaps. It's built in steps. And when your mind feels like chaos, action becomes your anchor. You move your body. You shift your space. You decide to touch the world again. And the more you do, the more it responds. Not with fireworks, but with clarity. So when everything feels too big, go small. Because the smallest act of control is louder than the loudest fear. Discipline is love in disguise. When you're hurting, discipline feels cruel, cold, rigid, too much. But the Stoic knows discipline is not punishment, it's protection. It's the version of you who still shows up when the rest of you wants to disappear. It's the part of you that doesn't need motivation, just a reason. And sometimes the reason is survival. Discipline says, I know you're tired, but we move anyway. I know it hurts, but we keep the ritual. I know you want to quit, but we don't. Not because it's easy, but because it's who you become in the fire. Structure is not the enemy. It's the rope you tie when everything else slips. You don't build discipline to look strong. You build it so you don't fall apart when no one's watching. So if you're breaking, build something small. A time to wake, a page to write, a breath to hold, and keep it. That's not control, that's care. Discipline is love that shows up, even when you can't. Pain is not the enemy. Avoidance is. Pain is honest. It doesn't lie, doesn't pretend, doesn't hide. It shows up raw, uninvited, but real. What destroys you isn't pain. It's the fight to pretend it's not there. It's the layers of distraction, the fake smiles, the constant scrolling, the I'm okay when you're not. The Stoic doesn't glamorize pain. He doesn't chase it, but he doesn't run either. He lets it speak, not forever. Just long enough to listen. Because pain has a purpose, not to punish, to reveal. Where it hurts is where something matters. Where it burns is where something needs light. And when you turn toward it instead of away, you take back the power. Most people numb. The Stoic notices. That's the difference. So next time pain arrives, don't close the door. Open it. Let it pass through. And when it's gone, you'll still be here. Clearer, calmer, more alive than before. Joy is in small things. Find them. You keep waiting for something big to fix it, a breakthrough, a sign, a reason. But healing doesn't roar, it whispers. The Stoic knows joy doesn't live in grand moments. It hides in the small ones: warm water on cold hands, clean sheets, a bird on the windowsill, the weight of a hot mug, the moment your breath finally slows. That's where life waits. Not in the future, not in the breakthrough, but in the now. In the quiet. In what's easy to miss when you're hurting too loud. So slow down, look closer. The mind will tell you that nothing is good, that everything is gray. But the world hasn't changed, just your focus. Shift it. Find one thing, then another. Not because it fixes everything, but because it reminds you. Not all light is gone. Some of it is just softer now, and if you notice it even once, you're already healing. Let go, even of hope. Hope can help, but sometimes it hurts. Because when things don't change fast enough, hope becomes pressure. When joy doesn't return on schedule, hope becomes shame. And slowly you start believing that if you're still sad, you're failing. But you're not. You're just feeling. The Stoic doesn't cling, not even to hope, because he knows peace isn't in waiting for something better to come. It's in learning to stand in what is. Without running, without begging, without needing it to end just to feel okay. Let go of the timeline, of the fix, of the should. Even of the hope that tomorrow must be brighter. Because sometimes, letting go of hope is the first time you actually breathe. And from that breath, real strength begins. Not the strength to change everything, just the strength to be here, fully, quietly, alive. Serenity is built daily. Peace doesn't just arrive, it doesn't knock, doesn't crash through the door. It's built, brick by brick, choice by choice, day by quiet day. The Stoic doesn't wait to feel better. He moves, even when it's heavy. Especially when it's heavy, he makes space. He honors routine, not for perfection, but for rhythm. Because serenity isn't something you find, it's something you create. A morning walk, a notebook, a pause before the first word. A single candle at night. Simple things, done with intention. Peace lives there. And when the world pulls, when the sadness creeps, you return. Not because you're healed, but because you're anchored. That's the power of practice. It holds you when nothing else can. So keep showing up. Not once, not perfectly, but daily. Because peace isn't magic, it's a pattern. Strength is how you show up when you're empty. Most people think strength looks loud, shouting, pushing, winning. But real strength? It's quieter than that. It's brushing your teeth when you don't care. It's getting out of bed when your body begs not to. It's answering a message you want to ignore. It's showing up, not because you feel strong, but because you said you would. The Stoic knows. Discipline is louder than emotion. He doesn't wait to feel full before he moves. He moves through the emptiness. Not recklessly, not to impress, but because values don't disappear just because joy does. You don't need motivation, you need momentum. And some days, just standing up is the most powerful thing you'll do. So if you feel hollow, move anyway. Tiny step. Deep breath. Repeat, That's strength, not fire, not fury. Just presence when everything inside you says don't. The mind is a tool, not a trap. Your thoughts aren't facts, they're suggestions. But when you're low, they sound like truth. You'll never get better. Nothing matters. You're too broken. And you believe them. Not because they're right, but because they're loud. The Stoic doesn't silence the mind, he questions it. He steps back. He observes. He knows. A mind left untrained becomes a prison. But a mind observed becomes a weapon. You don't have to agree with everything you think. You don't have to react to every thought that hits. Some are just noise, some are fear dressed as logic. Some are echoes from voices that were never yours. So slow down. Watch the mind like you'd watch the sky. Clouds come, thoughts drift, none stay. And behind them all, there's space, silence, clarity. That's where you are, not in the storm, in the awareness behind it. The mind isn't your enemy, it's your instrument, but only if you learn to hold it. The dark isn't the end, it's the beginning. It feels like falling, like something inside you cracked and won't seal, like you've left the road but haven't landed. That's the dark, the space between what was and what comes next. Most people fear it, they fight it, they rush to escape, but the Stoic? He stays. He knows the dark isn't death, it's depth. It's the place where illusions fall, where ego dissolves, where truth finally speaks. Because only in the dark do you stop performing. Only in the dark do you hear what actually matters. And when you've sat there long enough, you feel it. A shift, a breath, a tiny pull toward light. Not because the world changed, but because you did. You stopped running. You listened, you endured, and now you rise. Not fast, not loud, but real. And this time, you're not climbing out to escape. You're carrying something with you. Stillness, clarity, strength you didn't know you had. The dark didn't break you. It built you. You don't escape sadness by fighting it. You walk through it, slow, still, alive. And one day, without warning, you look back and realize it's not chasing you anymore. You're not broken, you're becoming. And everything you felt was part of the climb. So breathe, stand, continue. Not because it's easy, but because stillness isn't found at the top. It's built every quiet step on the way up.